Hello there, how you doing? It's your girl Cake Karabo. I hope you're good. Anywho, so I have a story to tell. As usual, I've got quite a few stories to tell. This particular story or moral of it is basically I'm trying to give encouragement to people who appear to have been set back, because really in the kingdom of heaven all is not always what it seems. To appear to have been set back in life, what's important is that you didn't compromise, girla. You did not compromise, and that's all that matters, because precious in the sight of the Lord is the dying to self of one, the death of his saints. The Lord rejoices in the one who fears him, and the least on earth are the greatest in the kingdom. So I'm going to tell you a story that God has also given me as a dream. Again, like yesterday's story, right, with the doctor, the physician that healed me from a near-death experience before. I told you guys that I got a job, right? And how it is that God came through for me. And I'm going to start that job soon. But right now I'm still at home for the rest of this week. So when I was about, I'm trying to give you guys a story to help you conquer and cope with derision and those who very potentially may want to spit on your toes because of what appears to be the fact that they have apparently conquered. At the end of the day, you're the one here that has the advantage of having not abandoned your morals, your virtue. You're the one that's held fast to Jesus. So when I was 20 like on the dot, okay? I was a part of this like learnership program with Liberty Life. It had come into my hands, this learnership program, by the miracle of God. I was not yet born again, but God has had my back all my life, even before I got saved. I can totally see his fingerprints on everything, okay? So he gave me this opportunity because I was on the precipice of suicide before it. I thought my life was over. I was forced to drop out of university because my mom was not paying my fees, and I was unemployed. And here it is that I was just sitting around gathering dust in the Kasi, in the ghetto, and I didn't know what to do with myself. And just at the pretty much end of me, boom, Liberty Life was prepared to see me. They were prepared to interview me. They were prepared to give me a shot. We went through the whole process of getting into a learnership program, and now I was a part of it. And when I was a part of this learnership program, this learnership program was a combination of it was on the job training, right? And then it was also like school. We would attend classes at the Boston City campus in downtown Joburg, right? It was the component of the schooling that the story emanates from. All right, the part where it is that we used to attend classes. So for maybe like out of a 4-week month, we would attend classes maybe like 2 of those weeks, and then the other 2 weeks it was on the job training. So during the 2 weeks that we were in downtown Joburg, the on the job training was in Randburg. For me in particular, for our for the consultants, the broker consultancy, that's what I belong to. We used to train up in Randburg in a branch, brokerage, but everybody else was in what do you call this, in Braamfontein, the main head office, but we were in Randburg, okay? So however, the schooling side of it, we all of us as learners, right, as like interns, all of us were in downtown Joburg in this one building where it is that we got lectured. Okay, cool. So being there, I used to use taxis to go home, all that jazz. I was still 2 series walking, and one day I was in downtown Joburg. I don't know what I was doing. Like, I was just walking up and down downtown Joburg, because I definitely was not going to the taxis to go home. I think I was just forward, naked papa, just traveling, going to see Santa, whatever. I don't know what I was doing there, because I was definitely not on my way home. Okay, I'm walking there all by myself, right? I had a friend, a bestie in this program, but I wasn't with her. I was just by myself. Anyway, whatever, I'm walking in downtown Joburg, and then approaches me is this like tall, like handsome dude. He was really, really cute, right? He looked all fashionable. Like I said, at the time I was like 20. He could have been like 24, 25, 20, 24, 25. Anyway, whatever. This dude sees me, and he is obviously a creative. He's obviously just this flamboyant creative. He's the way he's dressed, very eccentric, Anyway, I see this dude, and I, as a young girl, as a young woman, I think he's cute, but please, like, I'm not trying to, so I'm looking in another direction. This young man then stops me. He's like, hey, and I'm like, whoa, the cute guy likes me. He's actually like this, yeah. So like this dude, he looked actually, I don't even know if I can say that he looked colored, because I think he actually was colored, like one of those coloreds that can speak the language, right? They can speak Tswana, they can speak Zulu and whatnot, because maybe they've got like half black parent, half colored parent or something. He was one of those. I never got to know him long enough to understand what his roots are, but he could understand my languages. It's that basic. Okay, Kubiza Mananes, hallelujah for coffee. Okay, so this young gentleman, this young, exceptionally handsome, eccentric, colorful, very, very creative looking gentleman, I'm single at the time, right? I don't have a boyfriend or whatever. And that was before the days of me shunning recreational dating, because I was not born again. I didn't have any such conviction. Yeah, so I'm thinking, whoa, this could be a boyfriend. So this dude asks me out. He shallas me there on the street, like on my way to Kind Center or whatever. He's like, hi, how's it? Whoa, you know, blah, blah, wada. What's your name? What's your number? And I respond, and he says that his name is Philip. I can use the name that he had because it's irrelevant. He's not a person that is in my life, so I'm not like, yeah, he'll never know. Just some Philip dude, right? Yeah, Philip. He's like, my name is Philip, blah blah blah. He was a colored dude, but like I said, he had black nuances. The reason why I say he was colored is because he also had a surname that was like not black. It's not like his surname was Shabalala or whatever. It's like his surname was like Stevenson's or Peterson or something, like, yeah, let's say Peterson. His surname was like Peterson. It's like, I'm Philip, but he didn't introduce himself to me as Philip Peterson. When we were busy chatting, that's when he was like, so what's your surname? And I'm like, Hlongwane. And he's like, oh, mine is Peterson. Okay, cool. So this dude likes me. And initially I'm all excited, like what, right? Like he's so cute, he's beautiful, he's good looking, he's tall, he was taller than me. I'm a tall girl. I was already tall then. 1.75 meters tall. That's my natural height, okay? And this guy towered above me. In South Africa, we struggle with heighty men. Our guys tend to be short. So I had only ever dated dudes that were either my exact height or shorter. And this dude was like towering above me. So it was a refreshing encounter, because I was gonna have a boyfriend that I looked at like that. I was gonna have a boyfriend that I looked up at, right? Anyway, whatever. So here's this tall, skinny, he was just like I came to learn that he was a fashion designer. All right, he was a fashion designer, and that's why he was so creative outwardly. His outfits, like, he clearly was a designer. You know how designers dress, right? Yeah, they're very eccentric that way. Yeah, he was a fashion designer, and he was working on his brand. He was working on his line, and he lived right there in downtown Joburg in one of the apartments there, and he had like a seamstress and whatnot, like a home, like a place where these women used to sew stuff, yeah, and whatnot. He would send his designs there, and they would like patch stuff together for him and whatnot. He was a very creative dude, and he was a fashion designer. He had the life of a fashion designer that was on the come up. He was trying to break into the industry and be something big. He was trying to be David Tlale or something. Okay, that's what this dude was on, right? I'm at this stage, stage 20 years old. In and of myself, I love fashion. He liked me because of the way that I was dressed as well. So he imagined that him and I were two peas in a pod. He thought that we looked good together. You know, I was this fashionable young woman, and he was this fashionable young man. And it appeared to be a match made in heaven, at least at first sight. At first sight, it appeared to be a match made in heaven, until it became a match from the abyss. So here it is that this young gentleman pursues me. I give him my number, okay, and then he calls me immediately. So I'm really grateful for that, because, you know, dudes sometimes be out just taking your number and they don't call. So this guy calls me the same evening, and on the phone, that's when I was just like, what is going on over here? Like, what in the world is happening over here? What is this thing? Okay, he calls me, right? This cute designer guy. The conversation is just so laced with sexual innuendo. It was literally ridiculous, out of my mind. Like, I was not born again at the time. I did not have any conviction of sexual sin, but I had never been that like sexual innuendo communicated with by a guy. I'd never had a dude use so many sexual analogies in the way that he speaks, like in his metaphors. Like, everything that came out of his mouth was just sexual. And I just, whoa, like, yeah, but when the Bible says that, you know, do not even mention the things that people do in the darkness and the things that they speak are an abomination, right? So I won't even describe to you what this guy used to say, but his speech was full of sexual innuendo. Like lots of metaphors and analogies that are sexual, using food to describe body parts and what have you. Yeah, telling me about how he will invite me to a braai. That would be a barbecue if you're American. He will invite me to a braai and I will bring ABC and he will bring DEF. Okay, like I said, I don't even want to mention what this dude would say, but he had a lot of sexual innuendo, essentially, bringing meat to the braai that looks like certain body parts. You get my, this dude. I remember at the time I was staying with my uncle's family, my cousins and whatnot, because I was just newly in that learnership program and my mom was in KZN. And so my little cousin was there with me. When he called me in the evening, I was sitting next to her at home and I was like, chick, like, look at this dude. Like, remember that dude that I told you about that I met? Yeah, whoa, like, look at his SMSs. I say to my cousin, at the time, my cousin was in high school, right? She was like in maybe grade 11 or matric at NSA. Yeah, but we got really tight because during that time I was closer to her than her older sister, who used to be my rather bestie, but I got rather tighter, closer to her sister during that time for the fact that my cousin started acting funny towards me, the other one, right? So I got close with the sister who was 4 years younger than me. And so I'm sitting next to her and I'm like, cheeky, like, look at this dude, like the one that I met earlier, and I'm like, look at what he's sending me via SMS. Like, we spoke on the phone. And then he would also send me text messages. And like that relationship was over before it started. We get that I was in the world. I did not love God. But goodness, like, not everybody is just super crazy crass in the world. There are people that just like don't enjoy coarse jesting and dirty talk. Like, yeah, I was never that girl. Like, yeah, I might have been just 20, but like, no, that was not me. So this dude was talking like this, and when I showed my cousin, she cracked up. She laughed. It was a joke to her, but to me it was like, lo muntu lona is potential boyfriend. Like, hey, how am I gonna be with a guy? Anyway, I showed my cousin, and I tell myself that maybe I could save him. So his cute all of a sudden was peeling off his face or melting off his face like ice cream. His fashion sense, all these things that I liked about him were just peeling off him. They were coming off. Like, all of his beauty was just fading because of all of this way in which he was talking to me. And I didn't even know how to deal with it. It's like, dude, this is our first conversation. Why are you talking to me like that? Like, what is wrong with you? Anyway, whatever. So, however, I said it out. I used to be kind of desperate to be in a relationship back in the day. Like, being single was just not something I was trying to do. So I was like, hey, let's give this a shot because he's fashionable, he's cool, plus he's a fashion designer. Like, whoa, yeah, cars are this thing that I'm in. So I'm staying. It didn't last though. Like, proper, it got to a point where I just broke my top. Like, I blew a top. I got over it. Like, I realized that it doesn't have to be this bad. Like, it really doesn't. Anyway, whatever. So that's the first conversation that we had. Then we start meeting up, like, after my lectures, my classes in downtown Joburg. And then the thing that made me stick around for maybe, like, I was with that guy maybe like 2 months. The thing that made me stick around with him was the fact that our first sort of kind of date, I found it kind of romantic. Like, he took me, first and foremost, before we had anything to eat, he introduced me to the seamstress ladies, like the women who make his outfits, sorry, who sew for him. The women who, if somebody puts in an order with him, the mamas that sewed his garments, the mamas that sewed his garments, he introduced me to them in such a sweet way. Remember I told you guys that he was colored, and to a certain extent he even had a colored speaking accent, but like he could speak the languages and very well. Zulu Sahaha was like perfect, okay? And he took me to this building where there were these women who sewed, right? They were in this room full of sewing machines, and they were older ladies like grandmama age, and when he walked in there, they were like, oh, hello mtanam, like, hello my son, whatnot. They all loved him so much, and I was all shy there, and he brought me along with, and then the way that he introduced me to these ladies was so sweet. It was not the rude dude that I was on the phone with the crass, coarse jesting and the sexual innuendo. He was like, well, mama, this is meet umuntu like in Zulu, right? Meet, I'm not really, I'm more Botswana than I am Zulu, but he was like meet something very sweet that described me, like the woman in my life, intombi enhle ngithandayo, ngifuna ukuthi nimazi ngoba she's gonna be coming here a lot with me. You know, he introduced me like, meet my beautiful girl. You're gonna be seeing a lot more of her. Y'all know that I'm not, you know, I've been single for a while, and this here's my lady. I want you guys to know her, like get used to her. And it was so, it just melted my heart so much. And these mamas were like, oh, mtanam, oh, makote wethu lona, sisi unjani, no mina ngikuthi newa, mina ngikuthi. Yeah, so they were like, hi, how are you? My daughter, oh, you're so pretty, you're so beautiful. I'm Dineo, I'm Mama Zintle, I am Mama this, I'm Mama that. So I just was introduced as this like basic, it's almost as though this dude was introducing his bride to the women who raised him, you know, and it gave so much future to me. It was so touching, and it made me realize that this dude is not just trying to hit that, you know. It made me see that he's not just trying to hit it and quit it, because he took me somewhere that meant something to him. He took me somewhere that meant something to him. He really did like me. He really did. I don't even know why he fell for me so quickly, but he did. Okay, and that trip to the mama's place where these ladies who sew garments for him, yeah, when he took me there on our first date, like that was our first date. Like we eventually, like we got some food. I think we went to a pizza joint, Debonesco Kind Center, then downtown Joburg. But before we went to go eat, he took me to his mama's, and it meant so much to me. It meant so very much to me. Anyway, whatever. So this dude was, you know, when somebody's like half and half, man, like I don't know, like he was right but wrong. Like, yeah, this guy was the perfect guy, but he was also just the worst. Like he was right and wrong, like a volcano mixed with a still quiet lake. He was an earthquake right next to a breezy day. Like he was just a combination of two diametric extremes, one of the extremes of which was just unacceptable to me. It was just unacceptable, while the other extreme was like, whoa, where am I gonna find something like this? Like this is I could, like, on top of that, he's so cute. Like, can you imagine the babies? He was this beautiful looking man, and he was taller than me, something that was rare for me to find. And on top of that, he actually introduced me to his village mamas. Like, what, you know? Here it is that I'm sticking around with this dude, because like I said, the other extreme of him is like totally wonderful. All right, and the other section, I didn't even know how to deal with that. I didn't even tell myself that I was gonna talk to him about it. Like, awesome, babe, you know, it would be really wonderful if you did not talk to me like I was a piece of pizza, like we just had a debonaise. Like, stop. I didn't know how to raise it. I was still so young, and you know when you're young sometimes and you're impressionable, well, all these rubbish nonsense demeanors and endeavors that a boy can throw at you just for the sake of being in a relationship and in love, sometimes you just take blows in your stride. You just take them even though you wince when somebody, like, you know, you wince when they speak stuff. Man, we saying, what did those guys say? You twitch, but you just take it because you're young. You know, it was before the days of, babe, let's sit down and talk. Before the days of, I didn't appreciate the way that you spoke to me. It was in the time when you were still out here, relationships. So I sat in there a little longer than I was supposed to. So that situation kept me lingering around a little bit longer. But then he started to give Michael Ealy vibes, and it was cray cray. And by Michael Ealy, I mean Michael Ealy in The Perfect Guy. Like, he started to like do some pretty possessive, stalky stuff. Like, yo, this dude, like, whoa, scary. Yeah. So the conversations never stopped being sexual, and it was still very troubling to me. I started to find him, like, yeah, he was cute and everything, but the personality was just not giving. And so I was really deeply considering breaking up with him. I would tell my girl at the learnership, because I told you guys that I had like a bestie chick that I used to hang out with at the learnership program. I was like, I met this dude, cute, dumarayo. He's cute, but like, ish, this and that. And again, she also had a very big sense of humor, just like my baby cousin. And they would just laugh, like, imagine these females be out here laughing at her sister, you know, trying to confide in them for some problems that she's got, you know. My girl's laughing at me My girl's out here laughing at me. Kwa, 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 kwa. When I tell her like the details of what this dude was saying, kwa, 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 and I'm like, me, I don't have a therapist here. Eh? I don't have a therapist couch. I don't have somebody that gets it and is like, girl, you're not giving me the right advice. You're just laughing. So my girl was laughing at me. My cousin was laughing at me. I had nowhere to run. I had nowhere to run. I had nowhere to go for good sound counsel as to what to do with my diametric boyfriend, who was on two extremes. On the one side, he's just this perfect dude. And then on the other side, uyahlanya. He was like Michael Ealy in The Perfect Guy. I am not even lying to you. I had a Michael Ealy in my life when I was 20. And he was 24, 25. 24. You know how Sana how do you, Sana, the lead character actress lady from The Perfect Guy, indeed imagine that this dude was the best thing since sliced bread until very quickly into the whole soon, like it didn't take time. He just pulled stunts. He pulled stunts that was just so taxing, so voluminously taxing that a woman couldn't stay there. A lady couldn't stay. Yeah, but he was not at the extreme of Michael Ealy though, and I'm about to tell you how this whole thing fruitioned, how it unfolded, how it unraveled, right? So I was in a learnership program, right? And we used to attend classes with all of the other kids there. And this dude, like he was giving eerie, all right? Like nobody was able to, like, none of us. As the, like, where it is that we used to take classes, we would go, there was this building where we would take either stairs or a lift to a level. Stairs or a lift to a level, and then we'd be in class. There were no security guards or whatever at the beginning, right? Downstairs, I guess they didn't find a need for security guards. But like, there is literally not even a single student, a single learner that had somebody just rock up. It's like, think about it at varsity, right? Imagine the guy that you just started dating rocking up, slapping in the middle of an accounting lecture, and like getting like where it is that you take classes, and like your lecturer is like there in front wrapping up. Your lecturer is wrapping up on some, okay guys, this is what you have to do for the assignment. And as he's wrapping up, this dude walks in to your class where it is that you are wrapping up. You did not invite him. You did not you did not tell him where your classes are. You're in a building, like you're in a big university that has got so many lectures going on at the same time. You are in a big university that, okay, I'm breathing because I needed to use the bathroom. I was kind of pressed to pee. Yeah, you're in this like big, fat, chunky university with many classes happening at the same time. It's vast. Many lectures are happening at the same time. And your boyfriend knows that you attend, let's use Wits for instance. Your boyfriend knows that you attend Wits University. But he doesn't know what you do there. And well, maybe he does know what he does know what degree you're doing, but he doesn't know your lecture schedule. He doesn't know whether or not you are even at classes today. All he knows is that you're a student at Wits and you're studying BCom accounting. He doesn't know the schedule. He does not know that in the mornings you go to accounting 1, and at 12 p.m. you go to corporate finance. At 1300 hours at 2 p.m. you have got a tutorial. He does not know what you're doing. He does not know where you are at any given. He shouldn't anyway. No, he shouldn't know. This dude rocks. Yeah. So, however, despite him not knowing your true schedule, but he just knows that what school you go to, right? Then rocking up in an environment that is hosting an official program, like kids that are there in an official capacity, having paid fees, and this person hasn't signed in. This person, like, there was not enough security protocols in that environment, I will say, indeed, right? It was just kind of loose, right? It shouldn't have been that loose. There should have been a security guard at our lift or at the bottom at the door, that upon a person walking in, been like, what do you want? What is your interest here? Where are you going? Who are you trying to be a guest of? And these security guards would then also know that the kids that are studying, that are at classes, nobody's allowed to see them unless they come down. So if you have a meeting with one of the kids in the classes, you have to come down. The rules of that place was similar to like what would be the rules at res, at university. right? Like a lodging residences for girls only. People, like, you can't just bring your boyfriend in. They have to sign in. There's protocol. Guys can't just stay there. You know, there are rules. Like, a person, in order to make sure that there are no squatters, no people that just sitting there. You can't just let anybody in, because people can take the rule, like basically the whole establishment for granted. Do you understand what I'm saying? So if at all boys can't chill in the girls' res, there has to be eyes on the ground when boys are out just slipping into the girls' res, right? They're like, and they can't just stay there. It was an official environment for training kids in the learnership's curriculum, and we literally could not have visitors. We just could, like, nobody had ever had visitors, guys. No one had, like, I'd never seen anybody walk. Like, there was never a stranger on that floor. It was only the lecturers, and it was only the students, just us. This was like, this dude, when he rocked up, literally everybody turned their heads. It was so embarrassing. They were like, okay, there's a stranger here, like, Kimang Ole. This dude, anyway. So he found my classes. This building had many floors, first and foremost. It was one of those buildings in downtown Joburg. It had floors, many floors. One of the floors was where it is that we were taking classes. I did not tell this guy what floor we're on. We were so in the infancy of this thing. And again, where it is that I attended, I only told him the building. I was like, I attend classes at this particular building in downtown Joburg. I didn't tell him the floor. I did not tell him the room number or the quarters number. I didn't give him more details than just the fact that this is where I attend. And even then, he didn't know if at all we were at Liberty Life on the job training in the offices, or if at all we are in class. He was basically just going out on a limb to test the system. Yo, guys, anyway, yeah, so I'm in the lectures, right? We're finishing up the classes, and this dude rocks up. He sticks out like a sore thumb. But I told you guys he was tall, this yellow bone colored dude, and he was very eccentric looking. He looked very clearly like a designer. Like, you know how designers can dress sometimes. And already I was kind of uncomfortable and uneasy with him and the way that he was. I knew I had to break up with him. I told my girl about him. All she had done was laugh because the stories were to her funny. Okay, yeah. And when this dude rocked up, everybody, every girl and every boy, every man, woman, every student looked in his direction. We all looked, because never had we ever had anybody just waltz into that space that was not part of this program. Never. So we were wondering who he was, and the fact that Karabo. And the thing about it is, when he waltzed in, one of the students we were like exiting lectures, right, or classes. One of the students pointed at me because he asked them, "Do you know a Karabo Hlongwane?" And this chick looked back and she was like, there she is back there. And that's when I looked at him, and at the top of my mind, all I was thinking was, I just felt so overwhelmed, so bombarded. And I said to my girl, because she was with me, I had a bestie that was always with me. I was like, that's him. She had never met him at that stage. I was like, that's him. That's Philip. That's the guy that I've been telling you about. And my friend was like, whoa, what is he doing here? My girl was like, whoa, what is he doing here? I was like, I don't know. Anyway, so I went to him. You know when you push someone out of an environment because you know that they're not supposed to be there. I went with him to the lift and everything downstairs, basically to exit that building. To kappa him out on some, hey, what's up? Well, how you doing? He's like, nah, I just wanted to come and see you. I was like, no appointment, dude. You know I got a phone. You could have called me. You could have texted me. You could have said, can we meet after your classes? Or I'm done at 3 p.m. What time are you done for? Okay, sure. Like, he just came in the middle of the day. And my classes were not even done. We were just like on a break, like in the middle of exiting classes. So he came at I guess the opportune time, in the sense that I wasn't in lectures. But that dude, the way that he just waltzed it into an official room, an environment that frankly was demarcated for us only. He was trespassing. That's exactly what he was doing. He was trespassing. I found it so brazen, and I also found it so intrusive. He was just everywhere. He started to be like a tick, a fly, like He started to tosa me, this dude. So here it is that he's there, and I'm like, yeah, like I said, he could have scheduled a meeting with me. He could have said, can we meet after your classes? The way that you would as a boyfriend. Like, Papa, I've never had a boyfriend do that. If you're gonna surprise me at work, wait outside in the building. Like, wait outside by the boom gates or at reception. But don't come up to the offices and be like, hello, baby. That's like what that dude did. It would be like your husband surprising you at your desk at work. Without organizing with your colleagues, nothing, no one in just this vagrant stranger that doesn't have an access card, that is not within an official capacity to be there. They're being there nonetheless. It's like, where was security? Where are the rules? Like, I was just not safe. And this, it is exactly just like a man, a husband, making a decision to surprise his wife got desking without making arrangements with the boss, security downstairs, somehow slipping past security, and just next thing is like, boo, baby, here, I'm here. Tapping on your shoulder, you hear that's your husband's voice, and you're like, babe, how did you get in? This is a building, a working office, premises, people use access cards here. And the dude is like, I just wanted to surprise you. Guys, I mean, stalker. King, it's a stalker. So there it is, that this dude is in that official environment, making me very antsy and uncomfortable. I send him downstairs gently, and I don't even raise it because, you know, I'm all impressionable and I'm also scared to offend type thing. I just send him outside on some, okay, bye, thanks, you know, for coming through to see me and whatnot. And he's all like, he hugs me, you know, we at that stage, I think we already kissed or whatever because he was my boyfriend. Yeah, officially at this stage. I was starting to be very, very uneasy with him, uncomfortable, even low-key scared, but not too scared. He had never shown any violent streak, but he had started to show stalkery, creepy streak. He was like Michael Ealy, and the perfect guy, a dude that you think is great, and the next thing, something of him just is unhinged, clearly, and you just get like worried now, you know, about how in the world this is gonna go. So I get to a point where I'm like, now, I gotta break up with this guy. One day we go to, I then eventually get to a point where I'm like, yes, I want to break up with this dude, right? But this dude was like, I remember I told you that my cousin used to attend a National School of the Arts. She would, of course, take taxis at Bri to go home, home. One time, my cousin, like this guy was just, he was so all over the show. Yeah, man, he was man, not so. Anyway, whatever. My cousin I bumped into my cousin. We lived at the same house, right? But I bumped into her that day. I went home early, and then I saw my cousin at Bri, and I was like, "Hey, Kazi, what's up? Oh, you're coming home? Okay, I can get a taxi." And I was with this guy. I think he walked me to Bri, right? We were walking back home. We were walking to the taxi rank. He walked me to Bri. And then I bump into my cousin, and I'm like, hey, Kazi. And then I'm like, oh, Philip, that's my cousin, you know? Let's say her name was Mina. I'm like, this is my cousin Mina. Mina, this is Philip, you know, I've been telling you about him. This is my boyfriend, Philip. And my cousin's like, hi, nice to meet you. What a fish paste, whatnot. My cousin and I get in the taxi. Right? We get packed up like sardines, and we are about to go home. And I'm thinking that as soon as we get in the taxi, right, that this guy's gonna leave type setup thing. My cousin and I get in, we sit at the back, go window, right, close to the window. Like I'm on the very far end of the window, and my cousin's next to me at the back of this taxi. And this dude, I'm thinking he's gone now. I'm talking with my cousin, so okay, no, that's the guy, cuzzy. I say to my cousin, how was school? Wada, that's the guy. Yeah, you see that dude, yeah, not only. And my cousin is like, yeah, I do agree, he's really cute. But his SMSs, so what are you gonna do? And I'm actually chatting with my cousin about how it is that I'm already sure, I think I'm gonna break up with him because he's not giving. The other day he just came to school in Jevela and like waltzed it in, and it just was so embarrassing, and I didn't even know how he found out what floor I was at. He must have asked students at the downstairs, like on some, do you know Karabo? And they told him, I don't know, but he just, I give my cousin all these weird little things that this guy's doing, all these horror stories of this boyfriend, coupled with the fact that he's just completely inappropriate in the way that he talks to me, right? Anyway, whatever. I'm chatting with my cousin at the back of this taxi. The next thing, this dude is like, he is like, go. And my cousin and I look to the left, to the right, and he's standing right there. He's standing outside of the taxi at Ribule window, so he can chat with me all the way up until the taxi leaves. Look, some people might find that romantic. This dude being on some, baby, you know, I want to hold your hand until the taxi leaves. Like, you know, I don't want to miss you. I want to savor every last moment. If maybe he was normal, I might have found that kind of endearing. I don't know. But at this stage, I was really I found him creepy. At this stage, his sexual innuendo, the fact that he just rocked up at places that I didn't expect him. This dude was an obsessive. He was a too-mucher. He was a too-mucher. A too-mucher. One of those, like, he was just a too-mucher. Just the fact that on our first date, before we even went to go and get pizza, he introduced me to essentially what would be the tantamount of his family. I found it romantic, but then now that I think back, I realized that he loved too much. He was too extreme. I don't know if I was his only victim of this nature, but he just went in hard and fast and immediately. Based on what, I don't know. But he was already very possessive of me, and he was already just acting in ways that, well, it was just too much too soon. I don't know. So maybe that might have been adorable. And not only was this guy moving at that pace, and women love commitment, you know, women love it when guys want to make them serious, baskadlala and whatnot, but this dude was not just trying to commit real quick, real fast and make me something very serious very early. He was also sexually perverse, like in the worst way. He was sexually perverse in a way that a 20-year-old girl, a 20-year-old woman should not be too uncomfortable with, because she's already generally just encircled by crazy, sexually aroused boys. Like at that stage, at that age, it's not long ago since you were in high school. It's not long ago since you were on campus at university. You are also, even on this learnership program, encircled by a whole bunch of young hormonal men, you know, that every so often drop sexual innuendo bombs in your face. Guys that think with nothing but their nether regions are always encircling you when you're 20. You know what I mean? So for a 20-year-old, I should have, I guess, foreseen some kind of element of a perverseness in a young man, because banjalo, but not at that level. I'd never seen anything like that. I'd never, except for one time at Wits, actually, when I was a student at Wits. But I told you that I had to drop out of school because my mom wasn't paying my fees. In my first year, I had a stalker on campus. This one dude that he was literally too intelligent for that rubbish, because he was studying some hectic mathematical degree, you know. He was one of those East Campus people that were chilling in those mathematical sections of Wits waiters that they teach actuarial science and whatnot. He was a mathematics student. So for the level of intelligence that was going on, Nana, I was like, yo, dude, you're probably especially dangerous because you're so smart. Okay, I had a little bit of a Michael Ealy pursue me, and it got to a point where I was scared now for my life at Wits. This dude would I'll be walking from perhaps like West Campus through the Matrix to East Campus, trying to go home on the side of Liberty Life. I think they call it the Yale Road, so I can go to Brie. Yeah, to take taxis home. And this dude, it's like he memorized my schedule, my timetable, like clockwork. He memorized it, and every day I would find him waiting for me. Go to the Matrix, like literally. He would be sitting sometimes by himself at the Matrix, knowing that at a certain time every day I use that route, passing through the Matrix, to go and exit school through the gate. It's like almost like Liberty Life. I had to change the course of direction of how it is that I go to school, and I also ended up threatening him with the dean of his school that he is out here sexually harassing me on campus, and that's the only thing that actually stopped all this nonsense from happening, coupled with the fact that I actually actively used to avoid him. Now I started taking long dry, for crying out loud. That was the shortest route to get home. I started now using the exit on the side, Senate House, and it was just longer, like the exit that is on that road that, you know, that road, man. It's not quite Senate House, but just before Senate House, like before where it is that the buses past this another exit of that nature. I started using that to avoid him, because I didn't even want to go past the Great Hall. This dude was scoping me out almost like with binoculars, so I did not want to be found anywhere in those open areas like the library lawns. I didn't want to be seen at the library lawns. I didn't want to be seen by Senate House, by the Great Hall, by the Matrix. So I had to strategically take a route where it is that, like, almost like from West Campus, right, that big bridge, go over the bridge, and instead of going right ahead to Senate House, to the Great Hall, if it all, you know, Wits, you understand what I'm saying, I would then detour and take that exit Eleya Dibasi, you know, the one where there's a bus stop just outside. Yeah, I forgot what that road is, man. I forgot the name of it. I would use that exit, and it was longer and unsafe. I prefer to walk most of my time inside campus and then spend the least amount of my time out there in the wilderness on Johannesburg streets in Braamfontein. But this dude made me walk in the streets of Johannesburg for longer than I would appreciate and take a route that was longer than absolutely necessary. That was the most optimal route for me to take to go home, but I had to avoid the Great Hall. I had to avoid Senate House. No, not Senate House per se, but I would exit that Senate House would also have been relatively decent. In terms of distance, but I had to avoid Great Hall. I had to avoid the library lawns. I had to avoid the Matrix. I had to avoid, because of this little bugger. This dude started following me one time when I was back from lectures going home, and he followed me all the way from the Matrix. That's where where he first saw me, and he walked all the way with me to the gate. Right? He never ever exited campus. I think it's because he actually lived on campus. Right? And the way that this dude pursued me was by telling me all the things that he would do to my body. I had never been spoken to like that by a man before. I was only 18, 19 years old, and yet, despite at that age generally being encircled by very perverted little boys, I'd never had anybody speak to me like that. I'd never had any little boy shell at me like that. I'd never had any dude, not even some of my most playing boyfriends that I had at that date, were that sexually crass. I'd never had that. It's a different kind of man, y'all. It takes a different kind of human being to be that perverted. It's not, they don't make them all the same. That's what I'm getting at. Even though young hormonal boys have breaks, guys, even the young hormonal teenage boys that think trash 24 hours a day, at least have a gauze here on their mouth. Something that prevents them from just blurting out certain obscenities. What is going on in their brains, their very hormonal bodies, does not come out normal. They bridle their tongues. I was encircled by those who at least bridled their tongues, even though I knew what they were thinking. Because, little boys tend to be generally kind of perverted. What have you. I had never been in the company of any young man that pursued me with sex. What makes you think, first and foremost, that I'm not a virgin? After all, I'm at university. I'm young enough to potentially be one. And secondly, where do you come from? What's our guy? What Plazi town do you hail from, where it is that it's appropriate to speak like that to girls? Where has it ever worked? For me, the confusing thing was, where has it ever worked? Are there any women that you have ever pursued on campus, outside of campus, in your high school where you come from, your village, Lau Pumakon? Because I think it was one of those not from Johannesburg dudes. When I was from Pumalanga or something, I was like, dude, are you gonna tell me that Abantu Basema Plazini, there are women in the plazis where you come from that respond to that kind of Shellington? You probably got a B or an A on higher grade maths to be doing the degree that you're doing. So you're really smart. How in the world under heaven somebody that smart go now recognize when it's not okay to speak like that to women? Don't nobody want to be described to what happens on a porn set, however, with you being the leading lady in that particular pornographic show. Don't no woman want to be shell-eyed like that, because when you get shell-eyed like that on campus, you're thinking rape. You're thoroughly thinking this thing is going to result in the inappropriate manhandling of my person. This fraternizationing rubbish that this dude is doing is not going to end well, right? Men who are like that with women, does it work? I'm confused. Men, these perverted dudes, thank God, but those who do exist out there, when has asking a woman out by explaining all of the stuff you will do to her in the bedroom ever worked? I could say maybe he was raised in a brothel. I don't know. But largely chicks are turned off by that. They want to be wined and dined. They want to be lied to, essentially. Even if a dude is out there just trying to hit that, a woman wants to be lied to that the guy is trying to love her and take her home to mama and buy her flowers and open doors and buy her cake and flowers on her birthday. A woman wants to hear that, even though the ultimate end goal of this dude is one and one only, is to ultimately bed her, but she ain't trying to hear that. So guys, Vashalanka that off the bat. It's Michael Ealy, the perfect guy. Psychopath. Cray, totally cray. That's a man that's sick, and that's a man that's never been taught how to deal with women. Maybe he's only ever grown up among other brutish men with their lofty ideas about what to do to women. Maybe he was in a boarding school, I don't know. And so as a result of him being then in boarding school with other boys and never having the company of women and speaking with other boys, their wildest fantasies about what they want to do with girls, communicating his wildest fantasies about what they want to do with girls. That then made him think that after matriculating and getting out of boarding school, he can then just speak to girls like that because he's only ever been in a man cave. I don't know, but I had never in my life experienced that level of perversity from a guy. Norma, I was encircled by young boys that were thinking it, but they definitely never said it. They had self-control. This dude literally went into extreme detail every single time he would find me. Every single day that I would find him chilling at the Matrix, and then he would walk with me insisting, okay? Me telling him, leave me alone, you're scaring me, you're freaking me out, did not work. And he would explain to me that, come on, give me a chance because this is what I'm going to do to you. This is what I'm going to make you experience. This dude, he went into pornographic detail as to what he's going to do to me. And it got to a point where I told him one day, look, dude, because my daughter, I would avoid him, but sometimes he would find me anyway, despite me running away from him and taking a long route. I eventually told him, I'm going to report you to the school. I'm going to report you to the School of Computational and Financial Mathematics. I'm going to report you to the dean, and you're going to get sent back home to Mpumalanga, dude. They're going to give you a strike or something. I don't know what they're going to do in the university, but this is unacceptable, and I'm pretty certain they'll listen to me. Okay, I'm going to tell them that one of your students out here, this is what he looks like, this is his student number, yeah, please, he's harassing me on campus, and they're going to listen to me, right? It was when I told him that I'm going to report him to the school that he finally let me alone. He left me, but that was the first and last as at that date. That was the first and last dude that ever pursued me like that. And going forward, nothing like that ever happened again. Going back, nothing like that had ever happened until this guy. But the sad and disquieting thing about this guy now that I was with, this Philip guy, is that I was with him. It's like I was dating the menace from Wits, but like in a different body. The guy, like this dude, the only difference between him and the menace at Wits, like the menace at Wits, right? He liked me and started shellering me. But because I was not attracted to him, I rejected him off the bat. I rejected the menace at Wits off the bat. Perhaps that's the difference, because this Philip guy, I was at first sight attracted to him. But then his character was very similar to the one of the menace at Wits. And it made me so crazy uneasy. Like I said, this dude at Wits, he had too muchness in him. He had a lot of too muchness, and not at Wits, the at Wits too, but that one was already like a psychopath from the very get-go. However, Philip was one that I accommodated initially, like Michael Ealy. He had a too muchness about him that made me very uncomfortable, coupled with the fact that he was exceptionally sexually perverse in the way that he used to talk to me. And really and truly, the thing that turned me off, even his romantic gestures, was the sexual perversity. It was the sexual innuendo. It was the fact that he just could not stop talking to me like I was a piece of meat on a plate. That was problematic. That was excruciatingly problematic. And I wanted out as a result of it. But if this dude did not wear any of that character, like if he did not speak like that, I very potentially might have just thought that this is romantic. I very potentially might have, like, his too muchness would not have been too much of a red flag for me if he wasn't so sexually perverse. If he didn't speak such, like, so though the red flag of the sexual perversity rescued me from the potential of being with an obsessive, possessive boyfriend, that if he was left to basically thrive and fester in a relationship with me for any amount of time, I might have actually ended up dead at that guy's hands. I'm grateful that he was at least a pervert, because the perversity is what made me get out. If he was not like that on the tongue, I would have been in a relationship with a dude that I would have thought is just really loving and really attentive, only for him to continuously just do really creepy things. That if at all I had lingered in the relationship with him, it would have created an even stronger or deeper possessiveness that could have landed me in hot water. Do you understand? So here it is that I'm with my cousin in the taxi, and this dude is like, knocks on the taxi window. We look we look right, and we see his face just there. And my cousin is like, yo. Anyway, I opened the window and I'm like, what's up? Is there something that you still want? Is there something that you still need? Seeing as we're leaving. And he's like, no, I just wanted to be here with you all the way up until the taxi is full and all the way up until the taxi goes. And like I said, if my boyfriend had done that, like if he had done that, if he wasn't a pervert that I was already wary of, I would have thought it was romantic. That's what I'm getting at. Oh, he wants to be with me all the way until the taxi leaves because we're so in love. But it felt Michael Ealy-ish. It felt stalkery. It felt too much. It felt, okay, so I'm gonna get it, like, what is this dude gonna rock up now at the offices in Randburg, where it is that I'm an intern too, where it is that I am getting on the job training? Is he gonna come there too? Is he gonna come there too? Is he gonna come to my capoeira classes? Is he gonna, where's this guy gonna, where is he gonna rock up next time? Is he going to find his way to Tladi, where I live, and on one day just surprise me? And like, yeah, anyway, he knocks on the window and he says that he wants to just wait until the taxi goes. He says he wants to wait until the taxi goes, and I'm like, oh, okay. Thankfully, the taxi fills up really quickly, and I'm like, goodbye, whatnot. And my cousin is like, okay, whoa, interesting, very interesting activity over there with your boyfriend. I was like, that's him, like, that's the guy, that's the way. And my cousin was like, okay, like, it's like she didn't know how to make of what just happened. Go Windong Mara. Remember, I remembered that this dude just surprised me at school, and here it is that he's knocking on a window, and I thought he was gone. Goodbye. Next thing he rocks up, go, and I see him on the window. Yeah, such activity as this. I eventually make a decision that, okay, I can't be with this guy because it's very grieving to talk with him on the phone because he's very sexually crass. Text messages are just too much. I can't deal. I can't take it. So I organize a meeting with him. I'm like, okay, I'm going to break up with this guy. I can't be with him. And I'm going to award him the courtesy of breaking up with him in person because I had a history of breaking up with boyfriends over text, and I was counseled and told by friends that, girl, you don't do that. So I was like, okay, I'm going to meet this guy. I am going to meet him, and I am going to I'm going to meet him. Yeah, no, before then, this guy, remember, he was a fashion designer, so he gave me a gift, right? This gift was, I forgot what it was, okay? I forgot what this present was. I can't tell you exactly, and I don't want, like, to add details and just to compromise or improv, but it was something that, like, again, it would have been sweet if at all this guy was not already kind of eerie, right? But it was something that had to do with his design work. It was like a creative present, a creative gift. Konja, what was that thing that he gave me? It was a creative gift. Like, yeah, it was a creative gift. It was made of leather and, like, I think some poetry or something that would have been okay if he was not all these other eerie things. But do you know what was the thing that was a massive turnoff? This thing that he made with his own hands, and it was really beautiful. He clobbered it. He plastered it with his perfume, his cologne. He smeared it, like drenched it in his perfume. Ish, guys. Yo, he like, actually, I could just see him going such that when he gave me that gift, he told me when we were there, right, go downtown to a thing, he was like, smell it. It smells like me, so that every time you open it, you can always think of me. And I was like, and guys, yes, the scent of that thing, I could even smell it. The smell of that leather, like, gift that he gave me, it was a beautiful work of art. I'm not gonna lie. All right, I could, like I said, I could pick up that smell before he even said smell it, because it, like, the moment he just took it out, I could smell it. He had a scent, a particular scent that I was aware of. I didn't have a problem with the way that he sent his signature cologne, perfume, whatever you want to call it. I was cool with it. But then when he gave me a gift sprinkled with his scent, I was like, oh, is this guy like an animal in the wilderness out here marking his territory with his pheromones? As in, this dude had so many weird things that he was doing, like so many weird things. And the scent, I can still smell it to this day when I tell you the story. The scent of that thing, if I tell you, it was so poignant that where it is that I put the gift in the room where I used to sleep at night, it literally filled up the whole room. It filled up the whole room. Like, you could go to the kitchen, and when you came back into the room, smelled of him. I was like, but the room where I sleep, my boyfriend, and I don't sleep here alone. I sleep with one of my cousins. So we're gonna have to now inhale the scent of my boyfriend's perfume. Yeah, my cousin didn't have a problem with it. I was no longer that tight with her, so she did not ask, what's that scent in the room? There was something that smelled like a man's cologne. She didn't care. She didn't know what it was. It's not like he smelled bad, but it did fill up the whole room, and it made me sick because I knew what that was. And when I showed my little cousin, because that's the one with whom I was confiding in with this issue, when I showed my little cousin, I didn't sleep in the same room as my little cousin. I slept in the same room as her older sister. When I showed my little cousin this thing, she also was like, whew, girl, I don't know. Like, that's your man. Like, Oh, he gave you a gift that smells like him. I've been with my boyfriend for a couple of years, and I ain't never gotten a gift from him that smells like him. But you know, hey, you decide what you want to do. Like, what's going on over? Like, you're clearly disquieted by this guy, so the decision is yours. And that's when I was like, I'm gonna leave him. I'm gonna leave him. I can't. This is too much. So he gave me this thing that smells like him, and it lingered in the room for like however long. It was on my person. It was a gift that he gave me, and I kept it, right? Whatever. And I kept on smelling it. And while, if at all, I was in love with this guy and he was normal, I'd maybe be like, this is the scent of my man. But at this stage, I was already kind of feeling some kind of way about this guy. So it was not a good scent. It was not a good thing to, whatever. Now fast forward, this happened early on, like early, even before he rocked up in my classes, at my lectures and whatnot. So all these events unfold, and then I make a decision finally that, okay, I'm gonna leave him. All right, I'm gonna leave him. I can't. This is not gonna work. I don't want to be told that I'm gonna go to a braai and bring this, and he's gonna bring this kind of meat, and it's gonna be like us fornicating. I'm not doing this anymore. Okay.